That object in Max is called line, and you can think of that as like the slope of a graph, perhaps as a way to remember it ramping up or down. It's not the most intuitive object out there, so I'll go through it. The basic format is we say line, we give an initial value that we are ramping from, in this case 0, so we're probably going to ramp up, and then an initial granularity of the ramp. So we're going to tell it, go from this value to another value over a certain period of time, but how often do we want this object to report where it's at in that slope? So I'm telling it every 1/10 of a second, let us know where we are. So we're making like a 1/10 of a second steps, basically, up the line. So to start the ramp, we're going to send it a message with 2 numbers. And the first is the target number. The second is how long it's going to take to get there. So since our initial is 0, we could send this message and say, okay, go from 0 to 100 in 1 second. And if I click that, you'll see it counted 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, because we're stepping every 1/10 of a second. And then it bangs on its other outlet when the ramp is done, which can be useful. We could then go back down to 2,000, or to 0 in 2 seconds, okay? If we want to give it a new starting value, we can do that too with this kind of combined message format where we say 200, comma, 500, 1,000. How the objects interpret commas is as 2 separate messages. So we're sending it the message 200 first without a time interval, means it's going to jump straight to 200, and then 500 to 1,000 will be, okay, now go from 200 up to 500 in a second. Okay. And the line object remembers where, like, it knows it's now at 500, right? So if I hit either of these, it's going to start counting back down to that value, okay? If this message formats seem confusing, there is another way to do it. I don't know if it's less confusing, but we can send the target to the first inlet and the duration to the second inlet. They always have to be received as a pair, though, for it to work. So you typically are going to want to use a trigger with this so that you're sending both always at the same, not quite at the same time. It has to receive the duration first and then immediately after the target. So I can do this to go from 700, or from 0 to 30 in 700 milliseconds. And because I put a dot in my line, it's going to use floats. So if I want to use floats, I have to do that. And if I want to use this trigger technique, the easiest way to like play with the variables then is if I could say, okay, well, let's go then to 400 in 2 seconds. So I can use number boxes to change my messages and then hit the trigger again to get there, okay? There's also a line tilde object for working with signals. It works in a similar fashion. This is a way that we can like fade in or fade out volume. So if we want to fade a track in or out, we can do it with a line. So here I'm saying the line is going to start at 1. These are overlapped in a way that's hard to read. Then, like I'm doing a similar thing over here, when I click either of these, it's going to first send the duration, which I've set to 1 second, in here, and then its value over here, so we get the ramp. So like I can ramp down to 0 or back up to 1, each in 1 second. Okay. This one, doesn't have the granularity. I'm guessing because it's running at audio rate. Okay.